All right. So this is 15 tips and tricks for FG Assistant. I've been looking at doing one of these for quite a while, and I just have not got around to it. And finally, I decided that this would be a good time to record this video. If you are interested in FG Assistant and are not already using it, you can grab it from patreon.com/FG Assistant. The basic tier, which will get you access to the application, is $5. You don't have to remain a subscriber to continue to use the program, although you do need to remain a subscriber in order to get updates. So if you find yourself using it a fair bit, it is absolutely worth maintaining that subscription to get all of the updates. I try to update at least once a month with improvements and bug fixes and new features. So, if you're interested in it and you want to keep using it, that's always a good thing. And then there are other tiers that get you access to the program and access to exclusive or early access bootleg cards. So you can grow your card collection for FG Assistant that way as well. And with that, we are on to the tips. The first one being the match rules editor. And here we go, match rules editor. This was something I added a long time ago, but it wasn't very good. It was just the match rules editor was literally just this initial tab, the match rules, which is just the text of the like the rules. So if I hit edit match on the barbed wire cage match, you'll see, it's got all of the rules. I've highlighted them with little asterisks. You don't need to do that. You could format them however you want. This is just the way that I find them easiest. This text will display when I hit view match rules in the match screen. So it will display all this text, but that's what it's always done, right? The improvement was things like the standard and other charts tabs. Now, so in the barbed wire cage match, anytime you use the ropes turnbuckle or out of the ring, it changes what you're supposed to do and which chart you're supposed to roll on. So instead of those charts, you're now rolling on the barbed wire cage match chart. And so if you come over here to standard charts, you could see that I have automatically set the ropes turnbuckle and ring chart to roll on that barbed wire cage match chart, which takes a lot of the having to remember to do that off the promoter. I know that I found myself forgetting to roll on the charts, so that's kind of why I wanted to add this, is because it's an easy way to just kind of remove that having to remember from the promoter, or like having to select it from the big list of charts and actually use it. So this is a nice way to um, you know to make use of your charts and your specialty matches. And then this other charts, there are no other charts for this one, so I'm going to come over here to my I Quit match, and that's where I'm going to show off the other charts. So you'll notice that in the match rules here, when the pin is 10 or higher, you roll on the I Quit match chart when you roll your finisher or the opponent rolls their pin. So there's no standard chart for rolling pin, so you can't just set it to a standard chart and be done with it. You have to set it over here in the other charts thing. And what this will do is in the match menu or the match screen, there is a drop down that has all of your charts in it. So instead of this just showing up alphabetically under I, it will now place any other charts at the top of that list before it loads all of the other charts. So this will basically place this as your first chart. And if you had two of them or three of them, they would be your first two or three charts, etc. And so it makes it a lot easier to find, and the initial chart will automatically be selected as the active chart for rolling on the other chart feature. So that is a nice way to handle special matches without, and sort of taking the burden of remembering everything off of the promoter. You still have to remember to roll on these other charts, but again, they're like right there, so it makes it a lot easier and it's a lot nicer. So hopefully, promoters will get some use out of that. And tip 2 is base rankings. So if we come back here to the main menu and go into rankings, you'll see that there is a button down here that is obscured by my track text called Edit Base Rankings. And if you click this, it will bring up a button, or it'll bring up a button. It'll bring up a little box that you can move around or whatever. But this allows you to add, let's say Johnny Valentine, who is 10-2, had 6 matches that happened before I started running my promotion in FG Assistant, and I want to honor those. I can come down here and find Johnny Valentine in the thing. I believe I can just hit J. I can. So Johnny Valentine. Lots of J's, though, so maybe I should have picked a... But let's say he had 5 wins and 1 loss in those 6 matches, right? So 5 wins, 1 loss, and I hit close. You'll see that Johnny Valentine jumps from 10-2 to 15-3. And that is a good way to sort of honor your previous promotion history, but maybe you don't want to import all of your cards or set up all your cards in FG Assistant. I know that Grant had, he asked for this because he was bringing Hollywood Elite Wrestling into FG Assistant, and Hollywood Elite Wrestling had already had like 120 cards or 130 cards or something, and he just did not want to, he wasn't sure he wanted to enter all of them into FG Assistant, so he asked for a way to at least honor the results or the rankings for those previous cards. So that's what we did, and it basically is really nice if you have a lot of cards and you're like, I really like FG Assistant, I want to use it to run my Fed going forward, but I have no interest in entering 6 years or however long you've been running your promotion worth of results, but I'd like for the records to be correct, and that's how you would do it. So that is the base records editor, or getting your rankings base set up for a new promotion that maybe has been running outside of the program for a while. And now tip 3 is mixing tournaments and booked cards. I've gotten a lot of questions about this since I added the tournament feature, and this is it's pretty easy to do. It's just not like, and once you're doing it, like it will come naturally to you. It's not like it's complicated. It's just something that is not intuitive, I guess. So let's say you have a card here, right? I'm just going to load up a card and then rename it real quick, because that way I have a list of matches or whatever. So load my last card here. I'm going to rename it. So let's call this Tournament of the Americas, card 9.4, right? So that's important. So you're probably going to want to copy that, right? So you because the idea is that the event name and the tournament name need to be the same. So you've got that, and you've got your card set up and everything. You're good to go. You're going to hit main menu. It's going to tell you have unsaved changes. That's fine. You hit yes and go back out. The thing with the saving is that as long as the program is open, the tournaments and the events are saved into memory. So as long as you don't close the program with the quit button, these will maintain their like how they are. Their state won't change. So you can come into the tournaments. Let's say you want to start a new tournament. I've already got one going. Let's go here, and we're going to go to tournament settings. We're going to clear the tournament. We're going to blast that in there, let's say, and the date needs to match too. So you need to have the same date and the same card name. It doesn't actually have to be at the same location, but I would set it so that it's at the same location. It just makes it look better. And so you're going to set it up your tournament this the way that you want to. Hit new tournament. And then let's say I go and I add Ace Orton and Too Cold Scorpio, and they're in the first match. And then I go and add, I don't know, add Santel and Adam Bomb, and they're in the second match. And now if I go here and I go to main menu and I go back into my book and edit event, everything that I've done here is still the same. See, all the changes I've made. So you won't lose anything by hitting this main menu button and going out to the tournament. So let's say I run these two matches. I'm just going to remove them. I run the first two matches, and then I want to have a tournament match in between. So I would go to main menu. You could say yes again, because you don't really need to save the changes unless you want to save it to quit. If you're going to quit the program, then that's when you want to save the event. And it's the same with the tournament here. So you come back into the tournament. Let's say you run, you've run this. You want to run these matches. I'm not actually going to do it because it will take me straight to the match screen and it'll be a big old hubbaloo to do. So let's say we run Ace Orton and Too Cold Scorpio. Scorpio wins, and that's it. That's all we want to do for the tournament. We want to run like another match or two and the main thing. So you'll come out here, you'll go to main menu, and you'll go back into the thing, and you'll see that this is still the same. The two matches that I have removed are still removed. And you can basically start from, let's say I'm like, yep, let's do this one, and then we'll go back out, and we'll, yep, that's fine. We'll run the other match, etc. You get the point. So that's how to do that. And then if you were to go into event history, and I think I can demonstrate this with my last, if I go here, and I think it was in March, America's Cup. That is it. So that's what I called my tournament 2, not card 9.3, America's Cup 2. But you'll see, like, these are all tournament matches, right? These ones here. But then I came in and I was like, I want a World Women's title match in the middle of this. So I believe that this was my first round because it was an 8-person tournament. So there were four first round matches, and those are them. And then I came in and I ran my women's title match, which was the only other match on the card, which was Nell Stewart and Mildred Burke, and Mildred Burke won. And then these are the remaining matches of the tournament. So we've got the 2 semifinals here, which was Thomas and El Santo. And then the final was El Santo versus Sputnik Monroe, which Monroe won and became the America's Cup 2 winner. So that's how to mix tournament matches or tournaments and your booked event matches. Like I said, it's not hard to do. It's just not something that people instantly think of when, they're trying to figure out how to do it. But it is possible to do, and that's how you do it. And tip 4 is booking a battle royal. This is also something that I get asked a lot, and I'm going to show it off in here in the, in my one night event. This also works in the other, in the book and edit event screen. So what you're going to do is, instead of just adding them to one corner, you're going to add all of the guys that you want in the battle royal to both corners. So I'm going to add like 12, I guess. So this is going to be 8 when I finish this. Ooh, so I'll come down and do 2 more or 4 more. So let's zoom down. We've got 4 more, so we're going to add them. Babe Ruth is a manager, so let's not add him. Go down and we will add Asserati as well. Ironically, Bert Asserati is right next to Big Daddy in my card thing. I didn't realize that. If you are a wrestling history nerd, that might be slightly amusing to you. It certainly is to me, and I just noticed it. Anyway, you're going to hit start match, and it's going to recognize that this is a multi-man match, and it's going to ask you, is this a tag team battle royal? And if you wanted it to be a tag team battle royal, I will explain how to do that. This is not, so it's not set up that way. But let's say you did want it to be a tag team battle royal. You would need to select the tag teams back to back. So you would need to select, I don't know, Al Costello and Roy Heffernan as 1 and 2, and then, Hawk and Animal as 3 and 4, etc. So that's how you would do a tag team battle royal, and then hit yes here. And in a tag team battle royal, if you eliminate one, the partner is also eliminated. So that's how that works. So this is not, so we'll hit no. And it'll tell you this is a 12 wrestler battle royal right off the top. And so you have access to everybody here if you look at both corners. So everybody is available. And this is how the battle royals work. So you can select anybody, literally. I mean, you could have Santel versus Santel. I don't know why you'd want to, but you could. So let's say in this case, and I'm going to eliminate people so I can show you how to set the result, because it's slightly different than how you do it for a normal match. So we're going to say Ali Pasha has been eliminated. And let's say you want this in the notes right here. So you're going to come down and you will go here into the match note, and you'll go add Santel, or even better, you can insert the blue corner. You can't insert the red corner because he's already eliminated. Ali, that was Ali Pasha, I think. I don't know. We're not running the thing, so this is going to be 0, 0. We'll say he was in there for 25 seconds. Just cause. And what you're going to want to do, you can add this as match text, which will add it to this box here, and as a match note, which will add it to the notes at the end. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to add that, and it's going to tell you that the match note was added. You're going to zoom that back up and continue your thing. Let's say that Santel also eliminates Costello. And I'm not going to add the note for that. You certainly could. I'm just not going to for time's sake. We're going to say that Santel is now not fighting, and it's Art Thomas and Alexander Aberg. We'll say that happened, and then Alibaba eliminates Art Thomas. Then Ben Sharp eliminates Alibaba. And then Angelina Rocca eliminates Ben Sharp. And then Bert Asariti comes in, and he eliminates Angelina Rocca and Angelo Poffo. And Andre Cristal. We'll say that add Santel and Arnold Skoland. We'll say that happened. And then Bert Asariti, you can't hit eliminate on the last two, because there has to be 2 cards in order for this to function properly. So once you're down to the last 2 and it ends, like, you have a throw out on the chart or whatever, you're going to end the match. You'll hit yes to record it. I'm not going to actually add it. This will look stupid. I keep meaning to fix this and I haven't. But if I remember right, yeah, see, it treats it like a weird, like they're versing one another, and that shouldn't happen. It should actually just say Battle Royal. So I'm just going to call this a 12 wrestler Battle Royal. So you probably will want to edit that, unless, I should fix that in the next update. So hopefully when you get this, the update after the video, this will be fixed for you. But in the meantime, if you watch the video and then you decide to do a battle royal on your own program or your own application, you'll want to change that, because that's a bug. It happens. So we had Bert Asariti, and what you're going to have is he's going to beat all other wrestlers and teams, right? You don't want to select Add Santel, because then it will treat this like a singles match. You want to say all other wrestlers and teams, and that will treat it like a battle royal. So basically, Bert Asariti will get a credit for a win, but none of the other wrestlers will get credit for a loss if you do this. And that's how to run a battle royal. And you'll see here that note we entered is just automatically here in the notes for us. So if you did this for every elimination, you would have a nice list of eliminations, and it would be good. You can add more notes, like let's say by tossing, add Santel over the top. And there we go. And that's how to do that. I'm not going to add this to a card because then I have to go delete it, but that's how you do it. You would hit OK. I'm going to hit cancel. But that's how to run a battle royal in FG Assistant. And we've got tip 5 coming up. Tip 5 is podcasts. And this is something that is new to the upcoming update. So this is something that you won't have access to yet, but I wanted to show off. So more of a preview than a tip, but it is still kind of cool. So what we'll do is I have this on mute, so you won't be able to hear the podcast, which is good because that would get confusing. You'd have talking over me, and it would just be a mess. But you're going to change this. You'll have an audio type thing here. You'll have the music or podcast. And if you hit podcast, it's going to load up podcasts. And we've got Uncharted Territory. And this is the promoter spotlight featuring Chad and Tim. And that's the active podcast. And it keeps track of where you are in each podcast. So it will start from where you left off, all that kind of stuff. You've got your podcasts here. The program will come with the Uncharted Territory RSS feed and the Solo Promoter RSS feed already added in. And when you add it, you can add your own RSS feeds. So you just do this and hit, you'll enter the RSS URL. You do need the RSS, which you can get for most podcasts by finding them on Apple Podcasts, and then there's this site. If you type in like getting RSS feed from Apple Podcasts, you just paste in the Apple Podcast link, and it will spit out the RSS feed that Apple Podcasts uses to generate their page. So you can do that and hit it here and hit OK and enter it in, and it will do its thing. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is that some podcasts that you are going to enter, including Uncharted Territories, the early Uncharted Territories, like anything before this Chad and Tim, February 2024, was recorded using M4A, which is an audio format that the engine that I am using for FG Assistant does not support. So those episodes can't be played. It will filter them out automatically. Anything that plays an M4A will automatically be filtered out, so you won't even see them in the podcast list. But there are a couple of other things that cause things to be inaccessible. Like I added, when I was testing, I added Charting the Territories, which is Al Getz's podcast, which is great if you're not familiar with it. And a lot of them do work. However, there's about, I don't know, I think there's about 5 or 6 that are MP3 formatted podcasts, so they theoretically should work. But when you try to play them, it comes back with an error saying that the request failed, and I'm not sure why, because it only happens on like 6 of their podcasts, and then like the rest of the list plays fine. But if you encounter that, it will let you know with a little message that pops up in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen that says error, and then it will just remove it from the podcast list in the future because that podcast won't play. So, you will occasionally run into situations where the podcast can't be fetched by Unity, and, I try to account for that and remove them. But that's how this works, and it's real nice. And I'd like to thank Chad and Grant for giving me permission to include the RSS feeds for their podcasts, like right off the bat. So you'll right off the bat have access to all of the Uncharted Territories. You'll see that if you go here, it's even got like the latest one that was posted a couple of days ago, I think yesterday. So this will automatically update every time you launch the application. It will check for new episodes and add them in if they're available. So there you go. That's the podcast feature. I'm going to switch this back over to music. And there we go. So that is how to do podcasts in the upcoming version of FG Assistant. And tip 6 is double team attempts. So we're back to the options screen here. And if you go into match options, there's a bunch of cool stuff. And one of them, this one here, is auto add double team attempts to tag team matches. So just like it auto adds pin saves, you can set this if you use double team attempts. This is not something that everybody uses, but if you wanted to, you could set this so that it will auto add double team attempts for you. It will auto add 3 double team attempts to each team, and it will only do so if it is a recognized team in the groups database. Otherwise, it won't add them. So, if you just have a pickup team of, Coco Beware and some other schmuck, Johnny Rods, for example, it won't add the double team to them. But if they're facing the Road Warriors would get the double team attempts. So that's how that works. Grant always adds them every time he starts a new tag team match. And I was like, I should automate that. And then I don't think I ever let Grant know that I had automated it, so he still adds them manually. But if Grant is watching this, you can go ahead and check this off and it will add them automatically for you. So there is that. And now tip 7 is dice opacity. And that is actually on the same screen here. We've got this dice opacity slider. And what this does is somebody mentioned that, they had trouble reading the text because the dice sometimes obscures it. Well, this allows the dice to be semi-transparent. You can take it all the way down to 0. I don't know why you would do that, but I usually I've actually found myself really liking this, and I generally keep my dice opacity around 75%. So they're 75% solid, but you can still see through them a little bit in case they're like covering a number or something. And then you've got this option to apply the transparency to all dice. By default, they are only applied to the 6-sided red and blue dice. So like if you were rolling like a custom dice, like if you want to roll like a D12 or something because you're rolling on Dave Little's what is it called? I can't remember what it's called, but he's got a thing where you roll a D12 for it's on the out of the ring again and all of that kind of stuff. Chart. If you're rolling that, it will not apply transparency to those dice because I found them very hard to read if transparency was added. But let's say you have better eyes than me and you want to apply it to all the dice, you could just set this to true or green, turn it on, and it would apply it to all dice. So that is dice opacity. Tip 8 is metadata templates. And once again, in the options screen, you're going to come over here to metadata, and you're going to get this nice template thing. I found myself using things like debut because I keep track of like what year wrestlers debuted in. It helps me decide who is available in my NWC fed, which uses like a semi-real timeline. It's not completely legitimate because I don't use retirement dates. I have another way of figuring that out. So I basically have set this up so anytime I type debut into any wrestler's metadata thing, it will automatically set it as a number and automatically add 19 to the to the value because most wrestlers debuted in the 1900s. So, this is a nice way to quickly, all I have to enter after that is the final 2 numbers of the 19. And then I have these that I also find myself using a lot. So if I type official, it will automatically set it as a bool and set that value to true. And the same with color or whatever. So that's how that works. I found them to be very nice. They're very helpful. But I use metadata a lot, so I don't know that everybody does. But definitely helpful if you're using like metadata to help you search for certain things. Tip 9, if I can get my mouse over to the second screen, is accessing the online manual. I don't know that a lot of people realize this exists in the program, but if you come here and go here, this little book icon, which is not labeled, which it should be, but it is not, a tooltip will pop up if you have tooltips enabled. Let's go do that real quick. help, it's going to be tooltips. If you turn this on, it should pop up a tooltip. Load the PDF guide if an internet connection is present. So I'm going to flip off tooltips because I don't like them popping up. But if you click this, you won't be able to see this. Let's, well, that's not true. I can show it to you real quick. If I go here, you can see that this loaded the PDF of how to use FG Assistant. This is a pretty exhaustive guide put together by Billy Roberts, also known as Hexstar. And he has my infinite thanks for doing this, because this is a comprehensive, and I mean comprehensive, guide on using FG Assistant. It is nearly 300 pages. So this is like a legitimate manual that you used to get when you would buy an actual software application that describes how to use it, instead of just, I don't know, a lot of people now, or a lot of programmers now, including myself, I hate documenting things, which is why Billy has my infinite gratitude. But this is like a legitimate manual that covers almost everything in the application in a fair bit of detail. So definitely make use of it if you need, you find yourself being like, how does this work? Because he's probably asked me to explain it to him and then turned it into a nice helpful section in that manual. So that is there if people need, they need help with that. And I can't remember where we are. Are we on 9? Yes, we were on 9. So now we're on 10, which is Control F to search. We're going to leave the options menu for this one. And if you go into any screen with what I call the card table, which is this wooden background that has this search thing here, like if, let's say we're, it's not selected, but if I hit Control and F, it will automatically go up there to search, and I can type whatever I want. Let's say I want to search for mic, and it will bring up all of the mics that are in my collection. So there we go for that. The next thing is tag team search. So this is something that, I'm not clicking on the right stuff. So this is something like if you, let's say you hit Control and F to search again, and let's say I want to find the Fabulous Kangaroos. I'm trying to think of a team that because I can't remember whether I used the Fabulous Kangaroos or not, because you need to have the exact name here. So I'm trying to think of one that I know. Like Dusek Riot Squad is one I know. If you, or not. The Dusek Riot Squad, maybe. Yep, it's the. But if you type in the tag team name, it will bring up everyone who is in that tag team. So let's show again with like a better example here. I'm going to go into my group and filters editor just to find. Okay, so yeah, if I do like Mustachioed Muscle, for example, let's use that. I don't know why I didn't think of that. They were the first tag team in my universe history. So let's say I want to search for Mustachioed Muscle. Gotta type correctly. Did I spell that wrong? There we go. And so, yeah, it'll bring up Farmer Burns and Tom Jenkins, which are the members of Mustachioed Muscle. Martin Burns is not included because he is not. It's Farmer Burns and Tom Jenkins. So Martin Burns was left out. I could add him, but, he didn't exist when this team was active. Farmer Burns actually retired, like, literally right around the time that card came out. So that was kind of a bummer. But, so yeah, that's how to use tag team names to do the search. I noticed that people don't do that very often, so I figured people didn't know it was a thing that you could do. So, and now tip 12 is OCR. So this is one of those things that I constantly tell people about, and I think that they are just like, I don't know what OCR means. So OCR is optical character recognition. And basically, OCR allows you to do this. Like, let's say I wanted to take, we'll go with Bill Miller. So I'm going to select Bill Miller front and Bill Miller back. This is my Bill Miller from Bootlegs of Wrestling. So OCR allows you to do this. I feel like a lot of people don't do this for whatever reason. But if you hit this little button over here, which, has like the little character search or the magnifying glass over some text, you'll get this little pop-up that you can position over a a block of text, right? And then if you hit this camera button, it takes a picture of that block of text and then turns it into game usable text, which it will use to fill in all of your, all of your slots for whatever thing you're on. So if you go here, you hit the camera. You don't have to be like exact with it. And every once in a while, you'll get it saying that it can't find all 6 things. You could say okay, and it will print out what it has, or you can hit cancel and then try to reposition it. I found that sometimes all you need to do is slide it a little bit to the left or to the right or up or down or whatever, and try it again, and then it will get the position. It'll get all of the text for you. So this is OCR, and it's very nice and very convenient, and I basically use it to it takes me less time to scan the backs of the cards than it does to enter all of this information by hand and generate a card back. So I find myself using this a lot more. And this will also work like, I'm not supposed to support this, but if you have a screen capture from your card from what is it, the online program there, you can import that, and technically OCR should read the text off of that as well. So if you don't have a scanner, you can still make use of OCR. You don't have to use the generated card backs. So yeah, that is OCR, and it is super helpful. And here we go. Automatic match counters is tip 13. And we'll keep using Bill Miller, and we'll just pretend he has something to count. Like, let's say his bear hug increases in strength every time you use it. That's his special mechanic. We'll just use that as a, as a, what am I calling it? Like, as a example. So you're going to hit add to match counters. Then you're going to come over here and you'll select, oh, I don't have his name, so it's going to be weird. Okay, well, let's add his name real quick, because that's not going to be Bill Miller. And there we go. So we got Bill Miller, or Bill Miller's entire corner. We just need this for Bill Miller. He's the only one that matters. So this is going to be the bear hug strength. Bear hug. Finisher strength. And let's say we want this to be, it's going to start at 0. And it's only going to be on when he's wrestling. Like if he's a manager, like if you have him set to second somebody or manage somebody, you don't want this on. It's not helpful. So only when wrestling. And you're going to hit OK. And it'll add it there. And then when you slot Bill Miller into a match, it will automatically add this if he's wrestling. So you don't have to do the whole song and dance of, adding them every match or anything. You can just add them once when you're creating or editing the card, and you are good to go. So that is how you do that. And tip 14 is unit conversion. And this is another thing that I don't think people realize exists. So let's say this card back had his height, for some stupid reason, in centimeters and not feet and inches. So you could actually enter like 187 centimeters into the feet thing, and it will convert that for you to feet and inches. So you've got 6 feet 1 inch, which is about 5 inches shorter than he actually is. I am not good with centimeters because I'm American. So, but there you go. So it'll automatically convert it for you. Same with this. Like if you did like 150 kilograms, it would convert it to pounds. Also, like this works with like let's say he was 18 stone and 5 pounds. It looks like it didn't convert it, but that's only because it's over too far. But yeah, so it will convert stone, pounds, kilograms, centimeters. I think that there's one or two more I cannot remember, but it converts most of the commonly used height and weight metrics over to imperial because the program only supports imperial. So, but yeah, so that's really nice for when you have a card with centimeters or 12 stone 8 pounds or something stupid like that. You can go ahead and enter it just the way it's written, and it will convert it for you. So, unit conversion, it's nice. And finally, the card notes section. Um, so this is something that you know even I don't use as often as I should, or as as I want. So over in here, you'll notice, and this really only works in this screen. Um, you know, so card notes are okay. I don't want booked. Let's just do all, and I want NWC. And I think the only card that I have with a note is actually Ed Lewis, and the note is just simply that he owns. He's the owner of Bluegrass Wrestling. But let's say you want to add, you have some ideas about what's coming up or whatever, and you want to note that down. Yeah, sure, exit. So you're in your card management screen, and you're looking at your roster, and you're thinking about um, you know, like let's say you've got Ad Santel, and you're like, oh man, I would really like to. Where is the notes? There we go. I clicked on the stupid thing. Hey, you're like, I'd really like to note that Ad Santel is going to get a U.S. title shot in at the next card, or Ad Santel is feuding with so and so, so we'll go feuding with, and we'll give it somebody. He's feuding with Angelo Poffo. And, you save the notes. You go back here. And then if you have that notes tab selected when you're hovering over cards in the book or edit event thing, you can see the notes that you've made for the card. So this is always going to default to booked because I still have stuff going on there. So if we go to NWC and then we go to all, and then we go notes and we hover over Ad Santel, it will tell you that he's feuding with Angelo Poffo. So, like I said, it's something that even I forget to use, but it could be very helpful if you're looking to sort of, uh, well, clearly, if you're looking to make notes about things that are upcoming or things that maybe have happened that you don't want to forget, that sort of thing. So there you go. That is 15 tips and tricks for FG Assistant, and hopefully y'all learned something, and it will help you better book your promotions. And as always, have a good weekend, and I will see you the next time I do a video.